So again, welcome everyone. So today is the second of the two special sessions that we are having for our FFE mentees. And last week we had our dear volunteers from Bosch, four of them, so Vaishnavi, Neha, Purnima and Harshita. They were sharing their experiences about how their life was as a student, like you, mentees, and what were the struggles they went through, the positives, improvement areas and everything, and how they came through the interview process, and then now that they are already employees, right? What is the difference, what they have learned, and also there were amazing tips on do's and don'ts for interview preparation, all those things last week, the recording of which I will also share with you. And in this session, the recorded session, the session that will be recorded, we will do the second part, which is mock interviews. And here is the flow I already discussed with our volunteers and also with our mentees. I had a discussion with our volunteers from Bosch during the course of last week, and yesterday evening I spoke to the three volunteers from FFE also, Vivek, Pavan and Sainath. So the flow, what we will do is this: we will have it in two segments. The first segment will be with the FFE mentees, and whatever we do in this first segment with the mentees, we will do the same now with our Bosch volunteers later. What are we going to do? First part, we will hear from the three volunteers from FFE, Pavan, Vivek and Sainath. Say something about yourself for 2 minutes. I have requested them to prepare for it, and each of them will say something about themselves, like in a real interview, because in any interview, campus, off campus, freshers, lateral hiring, anything, first thing is say something about yourself. So each of these three will speak about something about themselves, and we will give a quick feedback. We means me and also the volunteers from Bosch. We will give a quick feedback on this segment. Say something about yourself, and once that feedback is given, we will move to the mock interview. And the mock interview, I will do it one of the volunteers, Vivek, who has shared his profile yesterday. It will be like a real proper interview, campus interview that we do. And after that interview is over, again the Bosch volunteers and I, we will give a feedback on the interview, our general perceptions from what happened in the interview, what went well, what could have been better, the improvement areas and everything. And that will end the first segment. In the second segment, again, each of the four volunteers, say Vaishnavi, Harshita, Purnima and Neha, they will talk about themselves. Say something about yourself for 2 minutes. And quite a few, almost all the volunteers from Bosch asked me, hey Bhuvan, I am already inside Bosch. Now you are asking me for a mock interview for the students. Should I talk as a student or should I talk as someone who is not a student anymore? Very simple, you talk as yourself. It's the same answer I gave to all of you. You talk as yourself. I know it's a very valid question. I can understand exactly why. In fact, amazing that you could ask this question. Thanks a lot. So the thing is, you talk as yourself. So you are not you are today something. You are not a student anymore. You are a fresher. You are a second year, employee or something, associate in the organization. In the case of Vaishnavi, you speak as yourself. Whatever you want to talk about. See, imagine today you are going for an interview, the four of you, to another company. I don't want you to do that, but if you are doing that, so imagine what you will say, or you elevator pitch. You meet our manager, top management in the elevator in the lift. What will you talk? So that thing you talk about yourself for 2 minutes. So I will give you a feedback on each one of your say something about yourself. This will be a lesson for all also. And then we go to the last segment or pre-last segment where Neha will be the volunteer, and I will do a mock interview of Neha. Following which I will give a feedback, and other three volunteers from Bosch and we will give a feedback on what went well and what could have been better, and Neha can give her perceptions on how she felt, what she could have done differently, or what she would continue doing. Start doing fresh, stop doing, continue doing, for example. And the last segment is general questions. Any questions you may have, any thoughts you may have, we can all share. You can ask questions, we can do. This will be a 2-hour session from 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock. I think Vaishnavi anyway has to leave at 12:30. We will keep into account that one, Vaishnavi. So with this, without much ado, let's start the first segment. My request is, everyone who is going to speak or ask questions, I would request you to turn your videos on. Of course, Neha and Vivek, they will turn their videos on whenever they are being mock interviewed. But also my request is, If, for example, even saying something about yourself also, my request is please switch your videos on. Say something about yourself. I've already given a request to our FFE mentees to join from their laptops, not from the mobile phones, for the experience. And yeah, they had expressed some concern that in their hostel rooms the Wi-Fi is not really good. Sorry, there is some background noise. Could you please give me a moment alone? Okay, so they had expressed their concern that the Wi-Fi may not be good. It's okay, but we have requested them to sit in a place where the Wi-Fi connection is decently good or the mobile connection is decently good, the 4G, where it is bright with as less disturbance as possible. Basically, all these things you must do for your real interview anyway. If you are taking an online interview, you must go to a locked room. Preferably, you should go inside a room that is locked, no disturbance, everything. All this is a must. That shows how professional you are. So that's a basic expectation. So now we would start with the first segment. I would call the volunteers one by one, say Sainath, Vivek and Pavan, and you can talk about yourself for 2 minutes. So request is our Bosch volunteers, please also at the end of this, we will do all the three. Maybe we can scribble down some. I want to know how you want to do it. Should we give a flash feedback immediately after each, or we will let all the three talk about themselves and finally we will give a feedback? What would you prefer? For me, anything is okay.
I think after everyone speaks,
Let
it'd
all
be
the three
nice.
give. Okay, fair enough. In that case, I
Yeah.
need to also make some notes. And then we have to make some notes so that we don't forget. So let me take a piece of paper with me. And one tip before we start all this is dressing is important. So professionally dressed, professionally groomed in terms of men. You have to groom yourself professionally, formal dress. Ladies, of course, yes, because the cultures differ and each one has a different idea. Should I leave my hair? I am giving certain tips also for ladies to take professional interviews. Yeah, there's a big debate. Should you leave your hair free, right? Or should you be combing it or all those? That is a cultural thing, it's a sensitive thing. I would leave it to you. Only request is in the lighter vein, I'm saying men or women, doesn't matter. You should not give the impression you have come straight out of bed. And why am I sitting in this interview? Oops, I just got up. So as long as you don't give that impression, right, it's good enough. So however you want to groom yourself, dress yourself and present yourself, it's perfectly fine. That's the first tip I would give you. So now the first of the volunteers I would call Sai. So as and when I call the volunteers, please switch your videos on, and you should say something about yourself. 1 minute, 2 minutes maximum, right? Is that okay? So Sai, you're there?
Hello, sir.
Yes, Sai.
Sir, can you hear me, sir?
I can hear you. Well, quick feedback. Yes, dressing, very nice. Yeah, I don't know the culture about putting the neck button. Feel free, you don't have to unless you wear a tie. I'm going to give you
Yes, sir.
silly, stupid, what may appear like atrocious tips, but please take those tips because these are like, how to say, it's perfectly fine. Yeah, putting the neck button for your shirt is your option. There is nothing for or against it, but be relaxed because if you are going to put neck button in India, right, especially South India or any most parts of India, in the searing heat or whatever it is, and everything, you will constrain yourself. If you are wearing a tie, it is different. Otherwise, right, you will be choking
Yes, sir.
yourself in a way. And these are small things that will have, and suddenly you are stumped with some interesting question or something where you need to think. Your brain will not work immediately. So that's one tip. Yeah, carry on, Sai. Say something about yourself, your background, educational background, what your interests are, like hobbies, your family background, and everything. So.
Good morning to everyone. Myself, Sainath Reddy. I'm a hardworking engineering student, currently pursuing third year of my EC dual degree with VLSI specialization in Triple IT Kanchipuram. I'm a self-motivated and a curious person, and I'm always keen to upskill myself with new skills whenever I get a chance. And I'm currently preparing for GATE exam and parallelly preparing um, for a job in VLSI domain and picking up some technical skills. And I'm interested to work with companies which work in the VLSI field, such as Intel, AMD, and Samsung, and my dream would be to work as a VLSI engineer in 4 companies. And during my free time, I would like to love to spend my time with my family and friends. And sometimes I read and listen to music, and mostly playing playing outdoor sports. And I feel very confident because I'm a very quick learner, and can adapt to the situations. And I do my job honestly. Apart from this, um, I love to explore and love to learn new things, and I believe I will be doing this so far for the rest of my life. That's pretty much about me. Thanks for having me.
Thanks a lot,
Yes,
Sai.
sir.
Only very short question. I know this is going to be only a 2-minute presentation of yourself, but a very quick question. You said sometimes you would love to do all this playing, singing, and everything. That means other times you don't enjoy that. Is that correct?
Um, Mostly I play, sir. Like,
Okay, that was just to stump you and put you in a, how to say, in a stress situation. No issues. Thanks a lot, Sai. Thank you very much. Um, good. You can switch your video off. It's okay. So next, can we have Vivek? In fact, yeah, Vivek. Yeah, you can.
Uh, Good morning, sir, and good morning, everyone. Uh, Myself, Vivek Vardhan. I'm born and brought up in Hyderabad. I'm currently pursuing BTech third year ECE at NIT Trichy. My hobbies are playing basketball and making pencil sketches. Um, I currently like pursuing the ECE, but I'm mostly interested in the software domain. I love to explore new things, so I've been doing it from the past 2 years in the various different fields of the software. I have recently secured a internship at PwC, and I'm currently working towards the profile and building my career and challenge myself into new things. Um, and what all can I say about me? And I love to like explore different things and the different places. That's pretty much about me, sir.
Okay, thanks, Vivek. In fact, we will be anyway doing your interview in a short while, so we will discuss more in that segment. Thank you very much for your time, Vivek. Good. So you can switch your video off. It's okay. And Pavan, now finally. So you're there, Pavan? Okay, let me see. Pavan, you are there? Let me quickly check if there's a message from Pavan. No. Pavan, you're there? Yes, Pavan, you're there. You can switch your video on and you can say something about yourself for 2 minutes.
Bhuvan,
Yes?
actually, Shruti has raised her hand, so
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if she has something to say.
Yes, yes, please, please. Yeah, yeah. Please, Shruti, feel free. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, Shruti. Yeah.
Bhuvan, you can hear me?
Yes, Shruti. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm just trying to see because I just checked with Pavan, he was there. I don't know why he's not responding. Just
No problem. No
Bhuvan.
problem. No problem. Yeah. See, that's one disadvantage of not being the admin. Since I logged in from my personal laptop, I was not able to see the hand raised option straight away. From my office laptop, I would have seen it straight away. Sorry for that. Yeah. In the meanwhile, that Shruti is trying to reach Pavan and Pavan becomes available. Some quick feedbacks I would request our volunteers from Bosch.
Hi.
Yeah.
So I'll start with some points on Sai. So really good preparation and good dressing sense, and it shows that you came prepared, which gives a good impression. You mentioned stuff like learning attitude, and you kept it brief and crisp, which is good. One thing is you mentioned Gate and you mentioned name of other companies. These 2 points. It seemed a bit dicey to me. You can just I don't think you should mention Gate because then you are mainly applying for a job interview right now, right? You are creating a doubt in the interviewer's mind that okay, if I give you an offer and then you also qualify Gate, then are you going for that or this? So why create that doubt? Don't mention all that which steers the interview in any negative direction. So just you don't have to mention Gate really. And another thing is you said I want to work in Intel, Samsung, so and so. Imagine that you are interviewing a certain company. I mean, you're giving the interview for certain X company. So in that, it's always better not to really say I want to work for Samsung Intel unless you're really interviewing for Samsung or Intel. You can just say that I want to work in a company which gives me challenges or which is at the forefront in this so and so field, something like that. So avoid mentioning the name of companies. That seems a bit naive that you are interviewing for X company and mentioning the name of Y and Z companies as your dream companies in that interview. Apart from this, one thing is that you could have mentioned a bit more about any tech projects you have done or any technologies that you worked on. Just mention it so that the interview can catch up on it, and then he can ask, okay, what about this? So that you get a chance to speak about the technical side a bit more. So that way you can drive what he catches up on and how the interview goes forward. So try to throw in a bit of technical terms regarding anything, coursework or project that you have done. Apart from that, it was really crisp and well put. So that was good.
Beautiful.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the feedback.
Yeah.
So the mentees, please write down as note not only the volunteers who are speaking, and the volunteers means from FFE. Not only the three mentees, all of you, please scribble down the notes, have a pen and paper, and I would recommend for your interviews have a notebook, pen, paper, whatever. Right, you have it, and please take notes. Give impression that you are serious. That's one quick tip. Sorry, Vaishnavi. Yeah. Vaishnavi, sorry, go ahead. I interrupted you. Sorry. Hello.
I think you're on mute, Vaishnavi.
I think yes, Vaishnavi, you're on mute.
Bhuvan, sorry to interrupt, because I don't know, for some reason, I think Pawan stopped answering my call. I don't know whether he's nervous or what happened. He joined initially.
No more.
So is it okay if anybody would like to volunteer?
Yeah,
That will be great.
that's
Yes, that will be great also.
actually. Anyone else?
Anyone else also? But in the meanwhile, we'll complete the quick feedback from Vaishnavi maybe when I interrupted her. Yeah.
Dear scholars, anybody who'd like to volunteer, I think it's a great opportunity. It'll be a practice for you also. It's okay. Definitely you're not prepared, but just give a chance because you have seen 2 mentees who have answered this question. You can just go. You can raise your hands and Bhuvan will pick.
Yes, raise your hands, and then if you could switch the videos on, right? Please.
Hi,
do
am I
that.
audible, Mohan?
You are audible, Vaishnavi. Yes, please. Yes, now you're audible. Yeah. Vaishnavi, yes, you're audible. Am I audible, guys?
Yes, Bhuvan,
Ah.
you're audible.
Wonderful, wonderful. So I think Vaishnavi has on and off, I think, some audio issues. I don't know. Vaishnavi, we are able to hear. You're on mute. I think Neha or anyone who is in presenter mode, try unmuting Vaishnavi. So you'll be my co-pilots. Try unmuting her.
Hi, can you hear? Am I audible?
Yes, Vaishnavi. Yeah. Go ahead.
I am? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Hi.
I think Vaishnavi.
I think Vaishnavi left.
Yeah, I think she has
She'll rejoin.
issues. Let's no problem.
Hi.
Quick thing. Yeah. Harshita or anyone actually who wants to.
Am I audible now?
Vaishnavi, you're back?
Yes.
Yes, you're audible. Go ahead.
Okay, okay, perfect. Okay, so quick feedback about Vivek as well. So you had a good speed of speaking, that is there. You have to speak slowly and see the interviewer is gauging your statements start to finish of whatever the monologue you have learned. So that's a good tip that you were really slow and speaking at a normal pace. I think you could have prepared a bit better in terms of the content of speaking. Okay, you talked about your hobbies and all, which sort of is fine, but also it is at the end of the day it's a tech interview, so you could have added a bit more technical terms. You said software and that you worked in third year on since the last 2 years on some software related projects. Again, could mention terms and slight detail like headers. It's just like headers on your resume. You can just mention some of those terms that I worked on this project, that project, stuff like that. Apart from that, yeah, slightly more preparation required in terms of how do you really end it, and uh, that just shows that okay, you are speaking in a good way. So you can work on that. Apart from that, it was really good, and you were kind of calm even when you forgot what to say. So that's good. Yeah, that's all.
Beautiful. Thanks a lot.
I agree.
Bhuvan, I think
Sanjay,
Sanjay has
I
raised
saw
his
that.
hand.
I saw that. Maybe very quick feedback we can get maybe from one of the other volunteers about Sai and Vivek before going to Sanjay. Anyone else wants to
Yeah,
give
hi
feedback?
Bhuvan.
Harshita, sir?
Yeah, Sai, yeah, Vaishnavi had covered all that. Like, same thing. I had one thing is like gate exam. You did not mention that because if you mention gate exam, the interviewer might think like you might, shift to education and leave their job after you hire them. So yeah, that part was there. And rest, yeah, the way Sai presented it was very nice. Talking about Vivek, uh, what I felt was like don't start with hobbies, go with the technical, and then at the end you speak about hobbies. Like
Yep.
it's not nice to start with your hobbies. And one thing which I had is if he's what is that like going to join a core team like a core company, don't mention the software part. It it might make the interviewer think like, okay, he's more interested in software than the core technologies. I don't know if it's like correct, like feedback, but yeah, that's what I said. And one more thing, what he told was, what all can I say? You can't question the interviewer like, what can I say? You just have to keep that flow and be little prepared. Yeah,
Wonderful, wonderful,
little
Harshita.
preparation was needed. Yeah,
Exactly.
that's all.
Maybe
Thank
I
you.
would,
Thank you.
yeah, I would quickly add to what Harshita said. See, first thing is never. Okay, you're all freshers or not freshers. You're all students still, and everything is. There is no one set of 2-minute presentation about yourself for one size fits all for all companies. That's where the preparation, the word preparation. I'll tell you, there is no substitute for preparation, and there's never something called over preparation. You can never be over prepared. So when you are attending any interview, see, the usually the flow is like this. First, most of the campus interviews, right? First today they will have a how to say, a pre-placement talk from the company they would do. Then you will have a full okay, or maybe before that you will have the online exam. Nowadays virtually they do it. So that will be a technical exam. So you will be taking the technical exam where they will test you thoroughly technically about your background. It could be circuit background or whatever it is, right? They will test you. And only people who qualified this written test, right, they will be called for the interview. And just before the interview, the second day usually interview happens, and before the interview start, they will have a pre-placement talk. The company will come, they will talk about virtually or physically, they will talk to these selected candidates for the interviews, right, about the company and all this. You are free to ask questions in that. So you have enough opportunity to ask questions, to learn about the company on top of going to the website of the company and doing. So when you are already coming to this interview, you would already have had enough chances to know about the company and everything. So as part of your preparation, please do some reading what the company does and everything. As both Vaishnavi and Harshita put, there are certain red flags that may be raised. For example, as a recruiting manager, my personal experience, me as well as my fellow managers, many of the times, right, We have had situations where people join, freshers join, and within 3 months or 6 months, they come to us and say, hey, Bhuvan, good news, I've got admission to a foreign university, or I have written my gate, I got my score. Now, okay, I'm not going to talk about the ethical part of all these things. In fact, to be very honest, I will tell you, it is not unethical that you try to get a job at the same time you are applying for higher studies. It's perfectly fine. There's no immoral or unethical or illegal things, nothing. You can't do all those things. But as a tip, when you are talking about that, naturally the question will come. If you want to talk about that, then also be prepared for answering the question. Okay, you're writing for GATE. Imagine if you get a good score in GATE, what will you do? You leave the company? Be prepared for the answer. You cannot say, oh no, you know what, I'm not going to. Then if you're not going to go for higher studies after getting a good score in GATE, then as a manager, I would actually question your priorities in life. And are you just fooling around with GATE, or are you fooling around with us? What exactly? And if you say, sir, if I don't get a good score, that also is an answer I have received many times. Sir, if I don't get a good score, then I will not go. So you don't have confidence in yourself, huh? Or, so if you don't get a good score, that means GATE you will try again. So you will be spending time preparing for GATE and you will be leaving your company. So why on earth should I recruit you? In fact, there are many people who openly actually exhibited that they are joining the company only for a stopgap, maybe to earn some pocket money during the time that they are preparing for their higher studies, waiting for their American visas or something, student visas or something. And you can do that, but don't show it in the company. I'm not asking you to lie. Nobody, Vaishnavi or Harshita, whoever gave the feedback, we are not asking you to lie. But as I said last week, you don't have to be, you have to say everything also. Be very careful and be prepared to answer any follow-up questions. And second thing, what you said about preparation. I know, Vivek, you are stuck for words and everything. That's perfectly okay. It happens. In a real interview also it may happen. I would give it to you guys, the pressure of an interview, the pressure of a mock, and so many observant eyes, right, fixed at you. Everything is right. But that's what we are as professionals, the meaning of the word professional. You know, there is a difference between, say, a Rohit Sharma in cricket going out to bat and me going to bat as an amateur. The thing about a professional is you are always prepared. You know, you are being judged all the time. You don't have to go into an interview or a presentation in front of your management to be judged. Every moment, how you are talking to your colleagues casually, what's your body language when nobody else is seemingly observing you. You should 24/7 be prepared. That is a sign of a professional. And when you come to an interview, right, the moment you walk into the room, or the moment you switch your video on or your call on in audio mode, the moment you start, you are being observed. So you should always be prepared, and be prepared about how to say, this is a chance. The third point I would like to give you, the last point, again taking over from the previous feedbacks. See, these 2 minutes, right, it is your time, because the moment the interviewer starts asking the question, you don't have control, because you have to answer the question. Now there is no question for you to answer. It's your time. You're free to say anything you want, in fact for as long as you want. So 2 minutes, sometimes if you are talking too long, the interviewer may interrupt you. So be prepared for 2 minutes. Be prepared to make full use. And the only way, as I repeatedly I tell everyone, the only way to do that is to be prepared. If you want to make a 1 minute presentation, 1 month of preparation will go behind it. That's the difference between an amateur and a professional. A professional, to face in T20 match, you will be facing only 120 balls. You are a batsman, no all-rounder. You are only a batsman, you have 120 balls. You are not even an opener. You are coming at number 4. You are a specialist batsman. You may get 5 overs, maybe. And in those 5 overs, you may get only 15 balls. To play those 15, 20 balls and to score 40 runs, 50 runs, you need to face 1000 balls in net practice. That is the sign of a professional. So make use of this time, the 1 minute, 2 minutes, because that is where, ironically, you will not have any pressure, because nobody is asking you a question. It's an open-ended thing. Say something about yourself. You can have full control over the interview. And this comment is not only for freshers, this is also for laterals. Okay, so in these 2 minutes, what you say will guide the entire interview. You say something really good about yourself, the interviewer gets curious, they ask you, you guide the interview, you direct the interview. You say something that you would really like not to be questioned about, that's another direction. So you can control the flow of the interview by what you say, so be prepared. And you don't have to take pressure on you, because this is the time when you can be relaxed and without any pressure. It sets the tone for your entire interview. That's it. So thanks Vaishnavi and Harshita. What I would do is we would go for the next set of say something about yourself and come for the remaining feedbacks. Just a moment. There were a few hands raised. I'm seeing 2 hands at least. One was Sanjay. Sanjay's hands are down. I really don't know. And then there's Aishvi, or how do I pronounce your name? Aishvi. Okay. So Sanjay, you want to go first? You can switch your video on. It doesn't matter. You are not dressed formally or something. It's okay. Please. You're dressed formally. I really appreciate you are not one of the volunteers and you still have come prepared. I would really say let's give a clap to Sanjay, because you have come prepared despite not being expected to. That's what exactly I was saying. As a professional, you should be prepared always. So really nice. Come on Sanjay, say something about yourself.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Sanjay Hegde. Currently, I'm pursuing third year BTech from branch Metallurgy and Material Science from NIT Surathkal. If you come to my areas of interest, though I belong to branch Metallurgy, I was initially interested in this field, but during this lockdown, I completely lost control over my subject. And the place where I gained interest is finance and management. And the reason is, during my first year, during the first phase of lockdown, I was stranded along with my cousin, who was a company secretary. So he used to give me financial statements to read and analyze. So there I gained interest in this field. And then he slowly gave me an opportunity to read more about quantitative analyst, algorithmic trading, high frequency trading algorithms. So then I started gaining my knowledge and interest in this field, learning various programming languages, implementing various algorithmic trading strategies using Python. So, and then after my 4th sem completed, I got an internship in IIM Bangalore, where I worked under a professor in implementing this high frequency trading strategies. And it was also, it was a consulting as well as a finance internship. And during my 3rd year BTech, I continued with continue my studies in branch Metallurgy along with my studies in this field. And now I have got internship in Genkai Capital Asset Management Fund, which is a financial analyst intern, and I seek, or I'm willing to, or I think I'll learn more about this field working in a company for 2 long months. And my hobbies include, apart from studies and academics, I love watching movies, a lot of movies. Then I love watching movies in the first day and first show itself. And other set of hobbies include watching cricket, then talking with friends. Personally, I love talking to people, interacting with them, solving their problems. And coming to other part, I'm also interested in the consulting part of interview, where I like talking to people, solving their interviews, because of which I'm in. So in order to, because of which I'm part of a consulting club in our college, which is 180 DC Consulting Club, where we work with companies and solve, business problems. Like if a company is facing a business problem, they approach us and we give them strategies so that they can overcome, they can increase their revenue or profits, etc. So this pretty much explains about me. Thank you.
Good. Thanks a lot, Sanjay. So we will go to the maybe the last person, the volunteer from FFE Mentees, right? Ishvi. So and then we can have the feedbacks for all of them from our Bosch volunteers also. Ishvi?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Are you able to switch your video on and join? Wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful, Ishvi. So shoot.
Yes. First of all, thank you for giving me this opportunity to introduce myself in front of you. My name is Ashvi Chovatia and I belong from Jamnagar, but currently I'm pursuing the bachelor degree in EC Engineering from Gujarat Technology University and LD College of Engineering campus. I'm completed 12th in a BM Patel school from Dhron. I'm a third year student and my domain is software technology. My key interested are programming like Java, HTML, CSS, Basic of SQL, JDBC, and GSP. Now coming to my family. In my family, we are 5 members, including me, my father, my mother, and my grandfather, and one eldest brother. My hobbies including reading newspaper, listening to songs, watching movies, talking to friends. My strength are I'm a self motivated and I like to learn new things and learning from my mistakes and hard worker and focus on person. मतलब focus the person. My weakness is that easily trust anyone, but I'm working on it. Thank you. That's all about me.
Wonderful. Thanks a lot, HV. So, volunteers, feedbacks from Bosch Volunteers.
Yeah. Okay, about Sanjay. So first impression, amazing. It's really good and actually ticks most of the boxes for a good tell me about yourself according to what I think and what I was preparing in college. So it's really good, whatever points you put forward. Couple of improvement points. So you told your thing as a story, which is really good because anyone in general is interested in a story. Whenever you tell your stuff about yourself as a story, that okay, I had a cousin and he was in this, and that is how I got interested. That's a good way to go with it. You said I was completely lost in MEMS. You can spin it and put it forward as a strength. Instead of saying completely lost, you can say along with my usual academics, I developed a new interest and worked on it. Uh, with the help of my cousin or whatever. So don't say stuff like completely lost. You can just spin it and say that along with managing my normal MEMS studies, I developed a completely new skill set in so and so area or fintech or whatever the area is. Uh, Apart from that, you mention about the consulting club that you are at. I would say mention it sooner. Mention that point sooner. That came towards the end of your tell me about yourself, but that's a very good point. You can see that as a normal human being listening to you, there is a certain attention span that we have. So the sooner you mention your best points, the better it is for you. So you talked about first day, first show movies, this and that. Just before all of that, you can say that I am, and you linked it with how you are as a person. Talking, I like talking to people, solving their problems. As because of this interest, I am part of the consulting club at college, and this is what we do. Mention this, then you can steer towards your hobbies and stuff like that. So these are the only 2 points. Mention your strong points sooner, and instead of saying completely lost, give it a positive spin and say that I developed a new interest. Apart from that, it was, I think, really good.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Vaishnav.
Beautiful. Other feedbacks?
So regarding Ashvi, really good attempt, and it was you were kind of calm in explaining everything. That's a good point. One thing is you suddenly made a shift from tech to your to telling about your family and stuff. So for me, that was a bit breaking of train of thought. I was listening to what technical terms that you are telling, and then it suddenly shifted to family. Maybe try to work on that and a bit of compartmentalization, not like a robotic way, but still something that you mention the technical stuff first and then family, or you mention your personal stuff first and then all that tech, because it was kind of a sharp twist. One important point is don't mention weaknesses unless they are asking you why. Why do you want to do that? Unless they really ask you, then you tell it, right? Why do you want to, give an underselling point right on your own? If they ask you, tell fine. If they don't ask, don't even go in that direction. You always put your best self forward. Don't say, okay, this is my weakness. Unless they ask, you don't have to say it. And you said so and so is my strength, that I'm a self motivated person. So instead of just saying it specifically as a strength, you can just start from the beginning that I'm a HV, I'm working here in so and so field, I'm a self motivated person, I'm working on this in my college. You can just integrate that strength part into your initial few lines itself. If you don't have to really compartmentalize as strength and weakness. Apart from that, it was really good, and yeah, that's it.
Perfect. So, good. So, any other feedbacks from, say, Harshita, Neha, and Purnima? I'm not sure. You're there, Purnima? Yeah. So, Any feedbacks?
I think Vaishnavi has given a good feedback that itself summarizes everything.
I think that will also help you, Neha, when you're taking the mock interview next.
Exactly.
Good, nice. Anything else? Because I will also give a very short few things. Sanjay, first of all, yeah, uh, professionalism, right? I really liked it, though you were not one of the three volunteers, right? You came prepared both in terms of dressing and grooming, but also in terms of your what to say and everything. Okay, I will be a bit blunt in my feedbacks. Positives I will give you. I will give both plus and minus. I have been writing it down. Plus, yes, is a professionalism, and you are talking quite a lot about your non-technical. It's also technical, basically financial. You're talking that's really gave very good idea about your interest and everything, and beautiful. The impression that you gave was what was a negative risk, which was a threat, the lockdown and everything. You presented it as a positive risk, which is an opportunity. That lockdown did not lock me down. Basically, it locked me down with my cousin from whom I could learn a lot. That shows what kind of a professional you are, what kind of a person you are. That when you are presented with a challenge, you try to get something out of it. When you are given lemon, make a lemonade, they say, right? That's a very nice thing for everyone. Actually, try to connecting this with the other thing what Vaishnavi said. Weakness, the weakness, right? Please, you don't have to talk. I said, right, you don't have to lie, but you also don't have to say all the truths about yourself unless they ask. And weakness also, the word for weakness is not weakness, it's improvement area. If at all you want to talk about your weakness, use the word improvement area, right? And put it in a positive way. One example, I will give you my own example. One of my improvement areas is I am a perfection seeker. That's the truth. Many people who have worked with me will attest to it. Sometimes I don't get happy with things the way they are. I try to keep on fine tuning it. It's a negative thing because sometimes in professional thing you cannot wait forever, you have to give whatever. How will I put it positively? I don't say perfectionist in a negative sense. Rather I say, you know what, one area I need to improve in is to accept the fact that perfection is always a step ahead of us. So I am always running around chasing that next step. So that I need to improve. How will I improve? By having a less than perfect version of my work products and deliveries and everything to go out and parallelly seek perfection. So this is one example how you can put a positive thing, because when an interviewer wants to know about your improvement area, it is not to make fun of you. It is to see sincerely, right? It is to see where they can help you if you are selected and when you are selected and when you are part of our team, where I as a manager or we as an organization need to concentrate on helping you overcome your weaknesses so that you can fit in better with the organization and the goals. That's the only reason we ask your improvement areas. And of course, the second reason, are you aware of your weakness? All of you would have heard of SWOT, strength, weakness, opportunity, threat. This SWOT is something that you must do. In interviews, be prepared to answer questions on your top 2 or 3 strengths and top 2 or 3 weaknesses. And the weaknesses you put in, and strength also don't exaggerate it, because they may suddenly ask, or do you really think it's a strength? You know, I like doing everything perfect. That's actually a weakness, as I told you also sometimes. So do this SWOT analysis. On the internet you can find lots of tools how you can do it, and the strengths and weaknesses be prepared to talk about in a positive, with a positive spin. And yeah, Sanjay, that was also one improvement thing I would tell you. Though you are giving the impression you are an all-round personality, also when you are talking to your core company, technical company, yeah, they're happy that you're doing this all-round financial thing. Question is, they're not interested actually in taking you for that area. So also talk a little bit more. It's a true thing. It also applies to Ashvi also. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, Ashvi. So try to,
Yes, yes.
yeah, try to stick to what the company is. As I told you, you always have time and chance to prepare for the company and try to stick. If it's a financial, if it's a PricewaterhouseCoopers, the big four, right? PricewaterhouseCoopers, KPMG, and what is that, Ernst and Young, and what is the other thing? So if you are doing prepare for this, then it's okay. But if you're going for a hardcore technical company, right, even a software company like a service company like TCS, Infosys, CTS and all this, even then Infosys, even then, right, you have to stick to what interests them, right? That's one. And coming to HV, yeah, positive is it was really sweet that you're talking about your company, your grandparents and everyone. That's really sweet. And here is one feedback I want to give you. Yes, I agree with Vaishnavi. That was a sudden switch. It was suddenly for us. It took time for us to even understand that you are not talking about your family. So please be very careful in having a smooth transition. But then, Bhuvan, these are all heavy feedbacks you guys are giving us. How on earth do we understand it, but how do we prepare for it? Simple. I will bore you with this statement again. Prepare, prepare, prepare. Write down. You may all be digital natives, millennials. Please go back to the old Stone Age. Take a piece of pen and paper. Write down. Write down what you want to talk. Bullet points. Don't write sentences. Bullet points. And I told you, you have 1 minute to talk, maybe 5 sentences. So write down everything. Just vomit, dump everything on paper that you really want to talk about yourself. Sorry for the blunt language. Dump. You write some 10, 20 sentences. Then you say, if I have only 5 seconds, what is it one sentence I will say I don't want to miss? If I have 20 seconds, what's my second sentence? If I have 40 seconds, what is the third sentence? Like this, order the sentences, write it down, practice it with yourself, with your friends and well-wishers repeatedly. And in the interview, there is no harm in having a piece of paper like this, like I'm having in my hand. Have a piece of paper on which you can write down the bullet points. Don't write sentences, bullet points. Have it as a prompt or a prop, sorry, have it as a prompt list or as a prop, right? Have it, nobody will say anything. Even in a proper face-to-face interview, you can have a notebook with you, you can refer this perfectly, or a flashcard they call it, right? It's okay. That shows, see, this is not a test of your memory. It's a test of how you can face a situation, a critical situation, and how well are you able to carry yourself. So that is one thing for this blunt transition. But please don't underestimate the value of personal experience. You can, in fact, we expect you, see, you're all freshers. We don't expect you to have achieved a billion things in terms of, because you don't have an experience at all. Understood? The very little experience that you're able to muster is through your projects in your final year or your third year, or the PBL, project based learning, and all those things. So if you want to spend 2 minutes talking about yourself, you don't have too many technical things to talk about yourself by way of experience. So talk about your families. Talk about some sweet things. This is very sweet actually what you spoke, right? So please keep that spirit. Talk about your family. We expect you to talk about your personal things. That shows the multidimension. It shows you as a whole package. You're all packages, please. You are all packages ready to be molded. So please try to bring a picture of who you are as a person, not what you are technically. I know this subject and all those are different ways of bringing the big picture about who you are, your identity. If you have some time, go to the internet, see the word DILT's pyramid, DILT''S, DILT's pyramid. There, the last but one from the top, right, the second from the top thing is identity. Try to talk, try to understand who you are as a person, and try to bring that out in your presentation. Only one last point, Ashvi, uncontrollably the word matlab came out, I think, of you in your thing. Did you say, am I right? You said matlab ki or something like that you said, right? If I'm not wrong?
Yes.
So that comes out. Okay, that part is fine, but be very careful for people who have an accent, who have colloquialism or something. Be very careful. Not every interviewer, not every company will appreciate that. Try to have an accent independent or a colloquialism independent presentation of yourself. If it is someone from South India who cannot speak or understand much English, and you are using too many, one matlab here, there, one key here, there, those things are okay. But since I came across this, I'm giving this a tip to everyone. Be very careful about your spoken language. Try to be language independent, or accent, or all this dialect independent. And please work, if necessary, go to spoken English classes. I'm not asking you to have British received pronunciation or any accent, American accent. Don't do that also. Don't fake an accent or something. That puts people off on one side. Other side, if you have a heavy accent, very heavy accent, please work on it. You must actually work on your accent. This is not a comment for Aishvi, I'm just giving general, right? So with this, thanks a lot. I'm looking at the time, we are already close to 12 o'clock. We should have actually finished our other interview. So what we will need is we need to rush. So Vivek, switch your video on. I have your resume that you shared with me, and we will start your mock interview. The time for this will be 10 minutes maximum, and another 10 minutes of feedback, and then at 12:20, 12:25 worst case we will start with the second segment. Our Bosch volunteers will undergo the same, and we will try to see if we can close it by 1 o'clock with whatever feedbacks. Yeah. So Vivek, there. So Vivek, you are there. If you are there, you are on mute. You can switch your video on, and we can start your quick mock interview. Hello, am I audible, guys?
Yes, Bhuvan, you're audible.
Wonderful. So Vivek, you are on mute. If you are speaking, maybe one of the presenters can unmute him.
Hello. Am I audible, sir?
You are audible, Vivek. Switch your video on. We will start your
Yes,
quick
sir,
mock interview. Yeah, because we are running short of time. Sorry.
Yes. Okay, sir.
So Vivek, thanks for joining the interview, and thanks for giving a short presentation about yourself. And I'm just going through your resume, and quite an interesting thing you got here. Let me see. You're actually a top student. I can see that you had a CGPA of 9.7 at your 10th standard. It was at Kukatpalli, Hyderabad, right? Yeah, Vivek?
No.
Yeah. No, if your bandwidth is eating up, right, you can switch your video off. It's perfectly okay. Because I think your bandwidth is not really good. You can switch your video off. So, and also 98.8 percentage at Sri Gayatri Junior College in your PUC or class 12. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So your internship experiences, something interesting, Vivek, that we came across. I'm just looking at your CV. Can you say something really interesting about the Super Chat app that you mentioned in the other projects? I'm really curious. What was the Super Chat? Why? What was your motivation behind doing this? What is it?
Just as a part of, like, I've started the new technology app development. Previously, I've worked with a different software. So I've now started the Flutter, the new technology. So I had to like work on different projects. So SuperChat is a type of project. Like it's a global chat application. There is a single server. Like users cannot chat with them personally, but it's a server. Like users cannot see other users' profile, but they can chat. Just the name is visible, but they can chat in a global chat over.
Where do you think actually this would be useful? We have too many chat apps, right? WhatsApp and million things. Why did you want to? Did you do it just for the sake of doing a project, or was there a higher purpose behind this?
It's just like we need to start somewhere. No, sir. We need to start somewhere. Cannot build a mountain all over. So I have never worked on a chat application. Never worked on how this is done. So this is just the start, the learning process.
Okay, that's a beautiful thing you said. You have to start somewhere. You want to build a mountain. Now that you have started, what is the mountain you want to build? Where will this chat app go in the future? What do you want to do with this?
So not just the application. Like I have made like different applications with the different features. So overall, like it's like I want to explore everything. Like know most of the things in the software, like in the technologies. Work on different technologies, just to explore. And later on, I want to develop myself into deep into this. Like whenever I worked on any software or the technology, as soon as I got over like a few of the projects and also I left the technology and worked on the other new technology. So after I like, I want to go in deep into this.
Okay, interesting. And also with respect to your technical skills, right? We are saying, yeah, you said about Flutter. We could say that you took the course from Udemy. So do you do it regularly, learning from all these online apps and everything? How do you select which technology you want to learn? Do you have a strategy? I want to get into this area, so everything related to this, all these courses I will take, or do you have any other reason?
Yeah.
How do you select them?
Yes, sir. Like I have listed out the domains like app development, web development, and the data science. So in the start, like I was like learning a single technology from each of the domain. Then further improving myself in the further most trending technology.
So do you mean to say that whatever is the trend on that day, you will just go behind that? Is that what you mean?
No, sir. Actually, I like even when I learn the trend, like I want to learn the most difficult one as well. Like one with the web development, sir. There is a simple web development, the Vanilla JS, and later there is a React JS, and then the Angular JS. So I've learned the Angular JS is the current running one, but I have been learning from the start, like even the React JS. So I want my mindset is to learn, like explore new things, explore the new technologies, which one is better and all.
But Vivek, sorry to
Yes.
interrupt you.
Yes.
You
Yes, sir.
you are doing what in NIT, BTech in EC. You are talking so much about data science and all those things, which is good. But
Yes, sir.
then your core is electronics and communication.
Yes, sir.
So am I to then assume that if and when you join our organization, right, you would
Yes, sir.
also be jumping across, right, different areas you want to work, and you would not be able to stick to one area? Because at least the impression I get about you is you have a core area and you're doing a lot of things which is not in your core area. So technically,
Yes.
I see that you have a problem with setting your priorities. Can I take that, or you have something else to say about this?
No, sir. Like even before starting the BTech, I have decided like before itself, I have to take the course in the electronics and study the software thing. Like since my 10th class or so, like I have that in mind. Like I have to work on machine learning and the artificial intelligence. So my brothers used to tell me you should know the electronics and the software both. So I have decided in that way. Like I have to take the electronics, the robotics. I have worked on the robotics during my plus one and plus two, and now I'm currently working on the software. But I have never thought of going into the electronics domain for the job.
Okay. Now, you have listed an internship, right, at iLogitron Technologies,
Yes.
2021 June to April 2021. That I am sure that, oh, Jan to April, 4 months. Okay, sorry. Can you say something really interesting that you learned from this internship experience? Not technical, it's okay.
Yes.
Something
Yes.
else other than technical, what you learned. What are the things you learned through this internship experience?
So not giving up actually, like this is a new environment working for a company, but even though it was online, I have got a mentor to guide me. So it was like I was given some tasks daily, the challenges, the weekly challenges and the daily challenges, so I have to complete. But it was a 3 month internship. First 2 months it was good, like I have been doing very good, all the works, all the challenges. But the third month the tasks were very tough. Like technically it was difficult. So after working for like 1 day 2 days, I used to not get like any progress. So I used to give up, like can I get like some other task. So I used to ask them like that, but they used to say me, try and try hard, don't worry, take time, take 1 week or so. So from then I started taking time, like I took the time and completed the task eventually.
Okay. So now there is something else also. You have a section called positions of responsibility. That is something fresh, because very rarely I have seen such a segment in any of the fresher profiles. So you listed three things: a deputy manager, app development team at Scient, which still, and all the three positions you are saying you are currently continuing to do, right? Present
Yes.
day.
Yes.
Then coordinator organizing committee for your sports fete 19, and then sports fete 19. That means it's 2019. Are you still doing that? It has been 3 years now. Are you still doing it?
Yes, sir. Like I'm still in the team.
Okay, fair enough.
It's a fest, sir. It's a fest.
It's a fest. And then the third one, coordinator of workshop team. Now, these are, you're calling it as positions of responsibility. What is your understanding of the word responsibility? What have you been doing in these positions of responsibility?
So I'm responsible for some of the things in these positions, like taking the deputy manager role at Scient. I'm responsible for handling the juniors and the app dev tasks and the like my colleagues. So that's my responsibility. That's my work. I need to satisfy them for the higher authorities.
Okay, here is a question actually, then based on whatever you have described in your CV and what the conversation that we have been having. Imagine that when you do join our organization, right? A situation comes where, see, we are mostly working in agile way. Agile basically means self-organizing teams. There is no command and control. One manager does not tell you what to do. You take up the task that you want to do and you take ownership of it. And the situation comes where your team of 5 or 6 people, you are the least experienced in the team, but then you are expected to take responsibility, ownership, and the people who, for whom you are taking responsibility for, they're all more experienced than you. Can you tell me which learning from your these positions of responsibility that you will take to handle such a situation at job? Any one? You can take your time, take half a minute, think, and then you can answer this question. You've done positions of responsibility. What is that learning you will take from here to apply in a situation where you are leading some activities from a team where everyone else is more experienced than you? You can take a few seconds, take half a minute. Yeah.
Okay, sir. From these positions of responsibility, what I've learned is how to deal with different kind of people. Like here, I used to deal with juniors and the seniors and the higher authority. I have to answer all of them. So this is what I learned from all the positions that I have mentioned in the resume. So even in the case that you have said, like I have to deal with the more experienced people in my team. Uh, so I have to be more like giving more comfortable for them and the more respect and convenient way.
Okay. Are you the eldest child, Vivek?
Yes, sir.
Do you have brothers, sisters?
A sister.
A sister.
Yes, sir.
Younger sister. How
Yes,
do
sir.
you usually do it when your younger sister rebels against you, talks back? What is the age difference between you and your sister?
It's 1 year.
1 year. Then my question becomes,
Yeah.
you're almost of the same age, I would say, for example. And imagine she speaks back against you. She does not do what you request her, and she rebels. And of course, as a sibling, right, the boundaries are usually blurred. And can you give me
Yes.
an experience from your life, a situation where your sister did not agree with you and the argument or discussion became very tough, and how you came out of it, or how you handled that? Can you give an experience?
Okay. So like, I try to prove the point. Uh, like if it is possible to prove, like if she can understand, I'll try to prove the point, or
I'm
else
asking you a
I'll
real
just leave the
situation,
way it is.
not a hypothetical
Yes, sir.
one. Did you ever have an
Okay.
experience where you had a disagreement with your sister? You have had? Surely it would have, you'd have had lots, right?
Yes, sir.
Can you
Always
give,
on the small thing.
always, right? Brothers and
Yeah.
sisters, nah, this is always, I know the story. I have a sister, I know the story. So now, can you give one example where it was a very tough discussion and how you handled it? Where she was
Yes,
happy
sir.
at the end. She was happy.
Okay, like uh, to make her happy, like I'll just these things, like we need to satisfy them, like try proving a point. If I say a sentence and she says a sentence in anger, like it doesn't get calm. So what she's saying, I'll try to prove that's wrong. If that's wrong really, and I'll try to prove what I am saying if I can.
Okay.
Then she can, yeah.
All right. So let's look at your extracurricular activities. You were talking about intra school and role play and everything. Intra school.
Yes.
So what do you do in your free time? I don't still see anything on your CV about your hobbies. What exactly do you do in your free time?
uh Sir, I make pencil sketches and I play basketball, like whenever I get free or
Do you
get
have any
time.
pencil sketch that you made right now so you can show in the video? Anything nearby?
uh, right now I don't have it, like
Okay, fair enough.
I
Uh,
have a wall sketch something.
no issues. Now, what's your favorite actually when you make pencil sketches? What's the theme that you usually choose? Random, or do you have a liking for a theme?
Like soothing. I get a positive vibe from that.
Hmm. Fair
Yes,
enough.
sir. Like
Hmm.
uh, somewhat uh, get a good vibes from the painting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, a couple of last questions. You said data science and everything, right? Can you tell me the different
Yes.
stages in data science? Different steps that you do. I'm not asking about software or tools that you use. What are the different
Yes.
steps? Because you seem to have been working quite a lot on data science, right?
Data science I haven't yet worked on, sir. Like I have to work on data science.
But you are aware of
Like I have got
steps in data science.
uh,
Have you heard of data
I
collection, data scraping, or data curation,
yes, sir.
training? Do you
Yeah.
know the word training in data science?
Yes, sir. We train the model with the
So
data,
what is your
training
understanding
data.
of that? What do you mean by training the model?
Like it has to work on loads of amounts of data. So before that, we need to test it with the small amounts of data, test it with all the different kinds of data,
Hmm?
the model. So we need to first train it with the data to get it habituated, like with all kinds of data,
Okay, wonderful.
with all the edge cases. Yes.
Wonderful. So, what's your where do you see yourself in 2 years, Vivek?
In 2 years, I see myself in a multinational company, uh, holding like important position
Hmm?
and solving the day-to-day problems and be happy
Want to
over
be
there.
happy? So,
Yes,
a
sir.
philosophical question. What's your idea of being happy means? What makes you happy?
Uh, what makes me happy? Like having the perfect balance between the work and life.
Work-life balance. Wonderful. That's
Yeah.
something that we can actually offer. That's wonderful. So, do you have any questions for me?
Uh, yes. Uh, uh, Sir, it's like I have a question, like how do we react in some situations, in some delicate situations, like uh, we are on a like irritation or anger, so it's not under control, the way we react. So if how can we react in some delicate situations or with some higher authority?
Well, to be honest, I expected to ask a question about the company or about the domain and everything. But since you asked, maybe see, I'm not a how to say lifestyle guru or something. But I can only, from my experience, I can give you only one tip. When you are in a situation where it's really irritating and it's blowing up and everything, the first and the best thing to do is to just keep quiet. Just keep quiet, take a deep breath, and take some time. Take a pause. That's the first and best thing to do. And more than 50% of the situation would have cooled down by us not responding immediately, by not reacting and keeping quiet. Any other questions you have, Vivek?
So as you said, like regarding the company itself, like I heard of the company Bosch, but I don't know like in which domain does it work more. Like it works on some. I know what it is like tools or something, but what does it research on the new things, the new technologies?
Good question. Unfortunately, I find that you have absolutely zero awareness of Bosch does.
Yes,
We
sir.
actually would have expected you to do some research before, because we had the pre-placement talk only this morning. I'm sure, as someone who qualified from yesterday's online test, right? Today you would have also got invitation to that. Yeah, but we would have expected a little bit of more research from you on the company. But yes, Bosch does not do just tools. Bosch is an automotive company predominantly. It is the world's number one tier 1 supplier. Tier 1 basically means we work directly with the automotive OEMs. And basically, to put in one sentence, Bosch, you take a car or a vehicle, right?
Yes.
Every single nut bolt onwards till the final thing in the car, every small piece Bosch makes, develops or produces, except actually making the car itself and selling, because we don't want to be in competition with our OEMs. But everything else Bosch does. That's Bosch. And of course, Bosch works in other non-automotive areas also, like thermal technology, industry technology, and quite a lot of packing and quite a lot of areas. Most famous, you would have seen the Bosch power tools. Na? We have the equipment and everything. But Bosch is more known as an automotive company. That's in a nutshell what I would say about Bosch. Good, Vivek. Then thank you very much for your time. Thanks for your preparation. And yeah, our HR team will get in touch with you about the next steps. So we wish you all the best for your career, and thank you once more. Bye.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
So volunteers, quick feedback.
Yeah, hi. I have few feedbacks. It was good, like the interview, it went well. But there are some points which you could have, just told in a better way. Like, for example, you were speaking about the technology you were working on, right? You were telling, like, I would like to work more on this technology. You could also have added, like, I know this organization will give me that platform to improve my technology and take this work to a improve, like this platform will give me an opportunity so that I can work on this topic and like succeed it or something like that way. Try including even the company so that you can have a connect with the interviewer also. That was one point. Yeah, he tricked you with a question like like, so why you're talking about software, you're a EC student, something like that. You could have also told, like, if I joined electronics and communication because I get exposure to both hardware as well as software. When you join engineering, you don't have an idea like what exactly you're going to do. Like, yeah, so you could have covered up in that way. And one more question was like, he asked you a question, right? Like, the fight between you and your sister. Actually, the interviewer also knows, like, your sibling fight will be like, something different from a professional thing. He asked you to, put you in a situation. What if you had a similar way in your workplace? Two people arguing in the, like, different point. So you could, so in such situations, you have to, answer in that way, not the, unprofessional fights. You can just tell, okay, I'll try to put forth my point, but if my sibling is not in a point to listen to what I'm telling, I just keep silent and try explaining her once she calms herself. So you could have molded your answer in that way. And one more thing is like, yeah, the last one. Do you have any questions to ask? Don't ask like, what does your company do and all. That is the thing you need to be knowing. Like you have to do your research. You can't ask that. You can ask some safe questions like, how was your experience at this company? This questions and all, it tries like, it'll connect with the interviewer and all. So yeah, that was my feedback. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Harshita. think Vaishnavi needs to leave. Any quick feedback, Vaishnavi, before you leave?
So Vivek, first impression, so really good. It shows some preparation on your part. Good interview overall. You were able to handle a lot of his googly questions in a good way. So that's a positive point. On the improvement side, couple of things. Whenever someone is asking you a question, especially the hypothetical situation part, take a second of gap, like 5 seconds of gap, and try to think from the angle of what is the intent of the question, and then you can highlight whatever trait you want to highlight by answering that question. So same as Archita told, the sister thing that he asked you, you could see that there is a parallel between that you are a younger employee with more experienced people, and if you say something to them, this is how you should do, how will it be received, compared with if your sister is younger than you and she tells you how to do something, and if she rebels, how is it received by you? So there was a parallel there which I think you sort of missed to pick up on. So that you can understand from which angle is he asking from. So take like a good 5 seconds of pause before answering any question. It only shows that you are taking your time to answer. It's okay if it doesn't seem like, oh, there is an awkward silence. Just take that 2 to 3 seconds time before answering any question. It will actually sound that you are, giving a good thought to it and then answering. So that generally works as a good trick when some googly is thrown at you out of nowhere. Another point is when he asked you about the EC versus software part, your approach to that was telling that I already wanted to do EC, and like from childhood I knew that I wanted this ML, and from 10th or something you knew that you wanted to venture into this field of ML and data science. That is a good answer. You can also give it a spin. It's just a suggestion from my side, a spin regarding interdisciplinary nature.
I think somebody is not muted. Sorry, Vaishnavi, go ahead.
Yeah. So you can try to give.
One moment.
Aniket, can you mute yourself?
I think one of the
Guys,
presenters
can you all mute yourself, please? Request all the scholars to mute.
Thank you.
Sorry, Vaishnavi, go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, you can try to say that, see, at this point, engineering has become a very interdisciplinary field. So if an interviewer is throwing a question at you which says, oh, you are in EC, but you are venturing into XYZ field, it's always a place to show your positive trait. You can say that I'm a self-learner. Out of my interest, I have built my profile in this field. And you can say that as an engineering student after clearing 12th, I did not know what area I want to venture into. So I took whichever was closest to me because of my brother's experience or whatever. As you said that I wanted to venture into robotics because of his influence. So you can just say that this is what I started with. But during college, I worked on things on my own and I picked up these skill sets and I found that my interest lies here. So that becomes a positive thing, that along with whatever your engineering branch you chose, you have developed a profile as well. So you can also answer it in the form of how engineering has become interdisciplinary now and how you have picked up two areas instead of just one, sticking with your core. One last two improvement points I would like to say. When they ask, do you have any questions for us? There are two ways this can go. Either it can go neutral and you say, okay, no questions, or it can go positive. Don't make it go negative. So the point that you asked, that what domains does Bosch work on? It's like when you're getting an opportunity to say something, try to make it neutral or positive. Why are you saying that you don't know the domains? You could have framed it in a better way and say that I know that Bosch works on IoT, smart connectivity, this and that. I just want to know what is the state of art tech that Bosch is focusing on these days. You could have framed your question in that way. I know so and so. I want to know more about this. Do you have a question for us? It's a good place to showcase how much you have researched about your company. Don't spin it the other way around and show that you have done no research. So that I thought was a weird thing to ask. You could have rather shown off your research, that I know that Bosch works on so and so and so. I just want to know what is your focus when it comes to state of the art tech, or which areas are you aggressively focusing on or investing a lot of infrastructure and effort on. And then probably the conversation would have gone in a more positive direction instead of going having the feedback that you have not studied about the company, which you may actually have studied, but you framed your question in that way. One last thing, couple of suggestions with respect to what you can ask. One question that you asked more about if someone is angry or irritated, how do you react in the company? Again, that seems a bit off. It's okay if you feel it's right to ask, that's fine. But you can ask stuff like, what kind of a person are you looking for in this role? What kind of skill sets apart from the tech side? What is a good cultural fit for your company? These could be good questions that you can ask in this area. So the whole point being, when you have this open ground, you have a question for us, try to make it positive or neutral, worst case. Don't show that you have not studied anything about the company. So frame your questions in that way. Apart from that, you handle a lot of weird questions in a very confident manner, and yeah, all the best.
Hey Vaishnavi, thanks a lot. In fact, very quick thing. Some of these questions may seem weird, but believe me, in a real interview, these are the questions I ask. In fact, I will also tell you there was an interview, campus face-to-face campus interview at one of the universities. I don't want to name. That was 4, 5, 6 years back, maybe, or more than 6 years back. I was physically present in this university, and the guy had written in the CV that he loves music, Carnatic music. I asked the guy to sing. It was a closed room, so I asked him to sing, and he hesitated. I pushed him. Can you sing? He sang. Beautiful. I asked him what raga it was. And then at the end of the interview, he started crying. I asked why. I said, you're not going to select me because you asked me all non-technical questions, and people only ask these questions when they don't want to pick a candidate and want to have fun. I told him, why do you think that? You have written the CV, you learn Carnatic music. So I wanted to test how authentic you really mean what you wrote. And I'm happy actually. But are these skills needed for a job? I said, yes, every small skill is needed in a job. We don't pick people only for the technical skills. That is why the previous days online assessment, right, that filters people. It does not choose the best of the people. You have to make sure you're not bad. That's it. But once you come out of the online assessment, you want to see what, because see, we are going to work with you guys, right? So that means we don't want someone who is a genius. We want someone who is pleasant to work with. We want a human being, right? Not a know-it-all. So we want a human being with whom we can identify with whom we can spend 8 or 9 hours of a day, right, looking at your faces and working, with whom we can go for lunch, go for a beer, go for a coffee, whatever it is, right? But at the end of the day, this camaraderie, this team spirit, right, they call esprit de corps, they call it, right, esprit de corps or something, the team spirit, that's what's more important. And in any interview, freshers interview, lateral experience interviews, all we are trying to assess is exactly that. Will this person be a right fit in the team, in the organization? You have to know technically certain things, certain experience you need to bring in, or if you are a fresher, certain skills you have to bring in. But beyond that, the interview is all about you and only you. The two places, like Vaishnavi and Harshita also said, right, it's like a bathtub curve. The beginning and the end of the interviews are the places where you can express yourself. Tell me something about yourself. Free to say anything. You can direct the entire course of the interview. And if you believe you are not made a very good impression by answering wrongly some questions, by not answering any questions at all, don't worry. At the end, again, you have an option to redeem yourself. Which is, do you have some questions? As both Harshita and Vaishnavi beautifully put, or Neha, I don't know, sorry, who gave the feedback, I'm sorry, it's the thing. So, as you guys gave a feedback, as a beautifully put, when somebody asks, see, do you have questions? That is the place to again put your stamp, showing that you have made some research. In addition to all the things that our volunteers said, you can also say, hey, what is your team working on? I work on automotive steering. That's really interesting. Can you say some latest technologies, if you can reveal what you are working on? If I cannot say, I will say sorry, I cannot reveal. If I can say, I will say it. So this shows that you are genuinely interested in, right? So this, say something with yourself on one end, and do you have questions on the other end, or two places you can anchor and you can lead the impression, or you can create a final lost impression. Beautiful. And other than that, my feedback, yeah, I just felt it was covered by our volunteers already. Please take time, don't rush to answer a question. Take a pause, as long as it's not a very awkward pause. Take a few seconds pause, try to understand the question. You can ask, sorry, could you please repeat your question, either because of the network or I didn't understand. Could you please repeat? There is no harm in saying that I have not understood the question, can you repeat? You can do that. And yes, so these are some things, because most of the things were covered, yeah, by our volunteers. Our volunteers, any other feedback, or even I would say Shruti, Anindita, I don't know if Tanvi is also in the call, Arvind, any of you guys also, if you have feedbacks, please feel free, because you guys are also experienced and you can give a feedback on Vivek's performance in this mock.
Bhuvan, I
Hi,
think.
Bhuvan. Hi, is that Shruti?
Yes. Hey, Tanvi, go ahead, Tanvi. I just
No,
wanted
no, no.
to thank.
Shruti, go on, please.
There's a lot of feedbacks which is already given, Tanvi, so I don't think I have much to add. I think you would be also observer, so I think you can add on to it, Tanvi. Thank you.
Thanks, Shruti. Hi, Bhuvan. Hello, everybody.
Yeah.
So I've been really enjoying today's session, Bhuvan. Yeah, I think it took me back to my first interview as well. And believe it or not, you know, I think I can say it for myself. I don't know if Bhuvan would agree, but we all must have done this, at least one of these mistakes in one of our interviews in the past. I have done it. So I just want to say that there's nothing right or wrong about it. Okay, it is a learning process. It's a curve. You cannot become perfect even by your fifth interview or your sixth interview. You know, you will always have a scope of learning. So that you have started on a very good note, on with an intention of learning, with an intention of improving. I think that's the very basic step. That's the first step, which proves your caliber, which proves that, you know, you're going to go miles, you know, if you have that intention of learning. Like we've been saying, you know, nobody can force it. Nobody can tell you. Bhuvan has been telling you, practice is the key. And still we cannot force you to practice unless you want to do it yourself. You know, all the tips that you have gathered through these two sessions, we are here to provide you this platform. We are here to provide you all this information. Bhuvan has taken the efforts of bringing all the volunteers together. All the volunteers are coming with their own set of experiences in the past. So we can bring it all for you. But ultimately, what you want to take away from these kind of sessions is up to you. You know, whether you want to really take this advice of practicing seriously, it's up to you. Or you think, no, I'm already perfect. I don't need any improvisation on me. Then that's a choice as well. So I just want to thank all the volunteers, FFE volunteers as well, who've taken this, you know, huge onus on themselves that, okay, let me become the Balika Bakra today, and then, you know, let everybody else have their share of. So everybody who was on mute today, you know, but they were only present here for the sake of it. I'm sorry, you have missed some great learning from this session. All of you who were on mute but were still very attentive, were taking tips from all the interviews, mock interviews which were done today. I think you already must have gained, you have made your notes, and, you know, whenever is your next interview, you will come back to this day and you will remember, okay, this was the thing that Bhuvan told me, this was the thing Vaishnavi ma'am had told me, you know. And we have students, you know, who come back to us and tell us all these things. And that's why I'm telling you that if you have made your notes, even if you have made your mental notes, it's going to be a very, very great help to all of you. So I think this was just the beginning. Bhuvan, thank you so much for taking out time for, you know, compiling all these sessions together. And what a perfect way of, you know, actually giving this information to the students, you know, leading the way, walking the talk, I would say. So thank you so much for doing that. And thank you so much, volunteers, for being here. We would love to know your feedback as well. Anybody else from the students who have attended today, if you have anything to ask, if you have any, you know, doubts, if you're confused, okay, you know, I'm confused with the first portion, or I'm confused with this question. If there are any questions coming in your mind, now is the time. Please go on and ask your questions and get clarity on whatever doubts you may have. So do you have any questions? The floor is still open.
In fact, thanks Tanvi, thanks. In fact, I would thank the volunteers like Vaishnavi, Neha, Purnima and Harshita for joining, because when we asked them, they just jumped and they wanted to. That's really giving back as soon as you are a fresher, right? You're not a student anymore, but giving back, that's really great. In fact, we have only one quick segment. Neha actually is a volunteer who offered, now she'll be the sacrificial lamb, as you said. She won't. We will have a quick 5-minute mock interview with Neha, max 10 minutes. This thing, because she has come prepared for that also. In fact, sorry, actually, we also said we will also get this 2 minute about yourself. What we can do is, I don't know if Vaishnavi, she had to leave, if she's still there probably, but maybe Purnima and Harshita, if you are there, can you say something about yourself for 2 minutes, and then I will start with a quick mock interview of Neha, so the FFE mentees can see how it is with, say, experienced people, how we do it, the mock interviews. So either Harshita or Purnima, if you're there, so one of you can start with a 2 minute about yourself. You can switch the video on.
Yes, Bhuvan.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Say something with yourself.
Okay. Hi, good afternoon. My name is Harshita. I'm currently working as an associate software engineer for Bosch Global Software Technologies. Talking about my educational background, I have completed graduation and BE in electronics and communication specialization from NMAM Institute of Technology, Karnataka, in the year of 2021. It's been 6 months since I've Bosch. I'm currently working in the diagnostic departments for Volvo truck projects. During the 6 months, I've actually worked for 2 projects. Previously, I was working for Daimler truck project. Due to project requirements, I was moved to Volvo truck projects. And during this time, I realized I'm versatile and open to learn new things. I'm currently working, as well as leadership qualities. I'm looking forward to add more value to this organization. At the same time, upskill myself. Speaking about hobbies, I like reading books, playing board games. Yeah, that's all about myself. Thank you for your time.
Thanks a lot, Harshita.
Yes.
Thanks a lot. I think there are some disturbances on and off, probably because of the network and bandwidth. We are also switching the videos on. I know, so that would lead to some things, but generally, just random here and there, but
Yeah.
really nice. So, my quick tip to the scholars, right, FFE scholars, please observe exactly what I will, of course, be uploading this to you. You can also watch a recording of this and go through again what Harshita had spoken as a way of saying something about herself. See, she may have been working here for 6 months, but what she said is not different from what you can say when you are, because the flow, you start with, you build a picture of yourself. You start with saying, first of all, don't talk about technical things in the first 1 or 2 sentences. Say who you are as a person, give a rocking start, right? You should rock. And then you can talk about your technical things, what your interests are, what projects you have done in your BE or something, all those, what you are doing now and everything. And then go to your personal things, your hobbies and everything, right? You should talk your interests. That says that you have a life outside studies, you have a life outside work, right? And then finish it on a rocking note. Say that you're really so show that enthusiasm. We want to know that you are excited to be joining us, and we want to see that also. That was very much visible from Harshita's body language. Thanks a lot, Harshita. So who else wants to go? I don't know. Vaishnavi probably left, because anyway, Neha's, we are going to have a mock. I don't know if Purnima, I don't know if she could join because she had some issues last week also. Are you there, Purnima? Maybe not. If not, we can start with Neha. Okay. So Neha, here is the mock interview. I have your CV that you shared with me in front of me. If you could switch your video on. So Neha, good morning.
Yes, good morning, or yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Just a second. I have your CV in front of me. Yeah, Neha. In the meanwhile, when I go to this is the first time I'm looking at your CV. So in the meanwhile, when I'm going through your CV, right? Why don't you say something about yourself, Neha?
So good afternoon. I'm Neha Prabhakar, currently working as an associate software engineer in Bosch Global Software Technologies. I have pursued BE in Electrical and Electronics Engineering from Government College of Technology, Coimbatore in the year 2021. I have an experience of 8 months in Bosch. I'm working in the braking systems domain as a vehicle dynamics controller responsible for Daimler projects. So I have worked on unit testing, component testing, VTCs, ASCII implementation, and other ASPICE activities as well. So I worked on developing and deploying MATLAB scripts for various VDC projects in order to automate the performance of VTCs, and I got Shabas Award for the same. As freshers, we are part of the Evolve journey, where I have made contributions for the completion of cohort challenges, networking sessions, and magazine publication. And now I'm also volunteering for the FFE scholarship. In college, I was the gold medalist in my batch. I am really interested in renewables as well as electric vehicles, and that is why I opted for EEE. My final year project was based on load flow analysis and short circuit analysis in 14 bus system. My pre-final year project was based on data extraction from multifunction meter, which was actually installed in our college block. We analyzed the unbalances in electrical parameters and gave suggestions to our HOD for improving the parameters as well. As a team, we also participated in Yantra competition, a robotic competition held by IIT Bombay, where we built self-balancing bot. In terms of my internships, I did my first internship in Recon, Bangalore, where I learned about each department in an industry, how it works, industrial automation, electronics manufacturing and all. Then I did an internship in power projects where I learned about lighting designs using Dialog software and solar PV designs using PVSys software. And my last internship was with Bosch, where I was in the decom department, and I was involved in creating test cases for the braking system module. In my college, I was the placement representative of my class. We got to speak with a lot of HRs and many companies, and we got to achieve at least like about 95% of the students were actually interested in placements. I was a part of basketball team of my college, and our team won the second prize in the zonal 2019 event and third prize in the zonal 2018 event. I even got prizes for marathon as well as athletic events. I participated and won in many technical competition held both inter and intra college symposiums. And yeah, I have completed my schooling from various parts of India. So I'm exposed to different cultures, people, and languages. So I get easily adapted to a place. My hobbies are playing keyboard, reading books, and practicing yoga. And I like exploring Indian heritage as well. So this is a bit about me. Thank you for giving this opportunity.
Hey, Neha, that was really an all-round profile of yourself. That is amazing. GCT, right? Amazing. Because only 2 weeks back I was, no, not 2 weeks. Last Saturday I was at GCT. You would have worked with Professor Dr. Ranjit Kumar, right? The head of placement.
Yeah, he's the right.
Because last week's event was with him and Mr. Thiru, I think, from the IBT who supports him. So you surely know these people, right?
Yeah.
Really nice, nice. So I think probably if you get selected to Bosch, and if you are working, so probably we would like to involve you actually as an alumnus of GCT. That's really nice. So Neha, and what is this Shabash thing you said about? Interesting.
Shabash thing, yeah, this is an award which is given by the company itself. So if they feel that there's something done beyond the scope of the project, these awards are given.
Well, you also were talking about quite a lot of all-round things. In addition to doing all these technical projects, you are doing, you're supporting placement, marathon, yoga. Wow. How do you basically, what's your typical day, the moment you wake up till you go to bed? How do you actually balance all these things?
My timings of it, I wake up at 5 and mostly try to sleep at 10:30. Depending upon the college studies, and all these extracurricular like my yoga and basketball and stuff, we practice it from the morning 5 to before going to college. That was the time in which I used to do this. And now even when I'm going to office, I finish off all my exercises and yoga before coming to college. Yeah. Before coming to office.
And there are some really quite a few internships. Let me just look into your profile. Quite a few interesting internships that you are talking of. And one of your accomplishments from your CV is Best Manager title at Commensar 18 at GCT. I'm sure that's an event, Commensar. What did you do to get this accolade as a Best Manager?
Yeah, for the best manager event, the first was a basic quiz kind of competition, but the actual was a stress interview. So we had a stress interview in which our college seniors, they sat in the panel and they asked all kinds of questions in order to make us cry. So in that, the challenge was to answer in such a way that they get into a situation where they can't ask further more questions. Yeah.
Right. So you really love stress interviews, right?
That was the only stress interview I attended, and it went bit fine. It was good
So
enough.
how do you think you can take that experience when you are working? Have you already faced some situation in the last 6 months where you could have applied this? Any example of a stress situation that you faced?
Yeah, stress situation in the office was basically because we are a fresher, we haven't learned all these things from college. So at that point of time, at some point of time when there is a uh, lot of when the deadline is low and there is a lot of people work for the other people also, you get less help. So at that point of time, I had the stress of completing the job before the deadline, as well as learn things. So in this situation, I learned how to approach people, what kind of people to approach for each and everything. These all helped me. And yeah, as I said, even in that stress, I could complete the work. So that was the.
And another interesting thing, you are talking of what was that one project out of the three projects, the one that was installed at GCT. Could you say what the project is and what a few sentences about what was done there?
Yeah, we are like our class block. There's this multifunction meter which is installed. So that like our HOD room had this computer through yeah, it was attached to that. So using a software, we try to derive all the measurements such as the neutral current, then the power balances in each phase, voltage, all those things. And then with our knowledge, like whatever we studied in our subjects, we noticed the patterns, the load flow patterns and stuff. And then we understood that this is a problem. Actually, neutral current is supposed to be 0 amps, but I think over there it was about 13-14 amps. So we told our HOD that this is the problem which is going on. Please allow us to check the different machines which is kept in that. So that is how we did our whole analysis. We use Excel and Python tools in all.
Okay, so you are talking of amps and voltages. Just I don't know, somehow invariably I force myself to ask you a technical question maybe. What is more dangerous, 100 amps or 100 volts for a human being?
Voltage, it depends. Um Amps is a measure of like resistance and voltage. So on the whole, it also depends upon the machinery which you're using, if you are talking in terms of amps. But voltage, it is evident. If it goes about, I think around 30 amps and above, it is dangerous. And voltage also, I think you can resist up to 5 to 10 volts, not more than that. Yeah.
So if there is an electrical wire, one of them has 30 amps or 25 amps and another has 5 volts, which one would you touch confidently?
Yeah, there's a way of touching also. If you like 5 volts, if you touch without allowing the current to flow through, then it may be safe. So similar to a candle, if you try to go through the fire very swiftly, it is okay. In the similar way, if you hold the wire tightly, maybe you are.
Sorry to interrupt you, Neha, but I'm really sorry to say that for an engineer, actually, this is too superficial an answer. I would have expected something more technical. Can you use some technical terms to describe what you just said? You said candle and everything good. I'm really happy that you are able to relate it to real life. But being an engineer, being a circuit engineer, right, from one of the circuit groups and something, could you describe? We have a word for what you said.
Oh,
What is the word? Resistance, right? Resistance and load. Can you talk about some laws, some rules or laws that govern how much current flows through a circuit, how much voltage potential difference is there existing. Do you have some laws? Can you recollect something from your studies?
So the basically Ohm's law, it's the most famous law. So it says that it says that I'm just telling in terms of the formula V is equal to IR. So if the voltage is actually directly proportional to the current. So in terms, if your and that proportionality is your resistance, your wire will have around some amount of resistance, or any, not only wire, any.
Sorry, Neha, sorry to interrupt you again. Yeah, use formulas again. You used, but still somehow I can't shake off the feeling you are trying to step around some tricky technical things. Could that be because you are not fully aware of these formulae, or you simply are not able to recollect? Could it be because I'm still not convinced that you know what you are talking of? Ohm's law
So
is basically the most plain vanilla version of all the laws. Do you know some other laws that govern electric circuits?
Or you have Kirchhoff's voltage law, Kirchhoff's current law also. So which says that the voltage, like the current flow in a closed loop will be zero, or sorry, the voltage in a loop is zero, and the current which is in a node, the current which is flowing through a node and the current which is flowing out of the node is equal.
Okay, I'm holding this pen in my hand. If I want this pen, and assume this is made of conducting material, it's not a plastic thing, but it's a conducting material. For this pen with the conducting material to conduct some electricity, what should you do?
For this, I'll have to apply a potential. If there's a potential
How do you do
in
that?
the two ends.
How do you do that?
So you can use any kind of voltage source. It can be a battery, mainly battery or something,
Is battery a
which
real
will help
voltage
in.
source? Is voltage source even a term, or you just bluffing? Probably. Do we even have a term called voltage source?
Yes.
Are you really sure?
A source.
Take
Actually
half a
helps.
minute. Take half a minute. Think about it. Is there something at all called a voltage source?
There is a term called as voltage source, a current source or voltage source. Your voltage source, current sources can be in terms of BJTs, MOSFETs, everything.
What's a BJT?
So BJT is a bipolar transistor,
Bipolar
junction
transistor. Okay.
So everything depending upon the amount of currents or voltages you get, it will work as a voltage source or a current source. It depends upon the output. That's it.
Fair. If I'm still not really convinced, let's then move on to the next topic. Paper presentations you have said. You've done something about a stepper motor controller. Can you say in real life where you use a stepper motor at your home, for example?
Stepper motor, maybe mostly they are used in robotics and stuff. At home, stepper motor is not much used in other like normal like mixies or stuff. We do not use stepper motor. But yes, in robotics,
What motor
they
do
are
you
mostly
use in a mixie?
universal motor.
Universal motor. Okay. What motor do you use in a fan, ceiling fan?
Induction motor.
Induction motor. Do you have a better word for it? Can you elaborate it more? What kind of induction motor?
Okay, it's a single phase induction motor.
Single phase. Are you really sure? Is it the same motor that is used in an electric train or an engine to start?
No, in trains they use a three-phase induction motor.
Why is a single phase motor enough for home, and why we need a three-phase motor in an electric train engine?
Single phase induction motor is not self-starting. So yeah, and for mostly yes. So single phase induction motor is not self-starting because of the.
So how do you start a fan at home then? If it's not self-starting, how do you start it?
You basically have a component in the fan attached.
No, in simple terms. Now I'm going to the other side. Can you say in very simple terms how you start a fan?
Fan has a capacitor, inbuilt capacitor.
No technical terms. No technical terms. Simply, how do you start a fan at home? How do you start this not self-starting motor inside a fan? How do you start it?
it depends upon the voltage. A particular
You're
voltage
again
is
using
suddenly.
terms, Neha. Sorry, you're again using terms. A real engineer basically should be able to explain anything in simple terms to your parents, grandparents who are not from the domain. Even they should be able to understand. So, can you say in very simple terms how you start a non-self-starting fan?
Okay, by rotating it.
So, every time you
That's
start the fan at home, you climb on the table and then you rotate the fan.
no, it
Then
is
how do you do
it's
that?
simply switch on the switch.
Exactly. So that was the answer I was expecting. Switch. Good. Sometimes the answers are pretty simple and we don't think of it, but it's fine. So coming to the conclusion, I just have a couple of more questions. You have said in your hobbies you play basketball, right? Who is your favorite basketball player?
I like Michael Jordan
Hmm.
or
Have you watched the movie
yeah,
Space Jam?
sorry.
Space Jam. Have you watched the movie?
I'm,
It's an early 90s
I'm not
movie.
sure
He
what
acted in the movie.
is okay.
Was it Michael Jordan or Magic Johnson? I don't know. I think Michael Jordan. Huh? I don't know. Okay. Reading. What kind of books you read? Fiction, non-fiction, technical?
I mostly read fiction and technical books.
Hmm?
Non-fiction,
What
not
is the
so
last
much.
book that you finished?
I finished the Divergent series. That was the last thing I read.
The what? Sorry, could you repeat?
The Divergent series.
Divergence. Fair enough. So you have any questions for us, Neha?
I would like to know that what is expected from a fresher in your company.
We expect the
Like,
freshers to be full of energy. Not only Bosch, any company, and especially in Bosch, we expect you to be bursting with energy, to not wait to be told, but rather to ask, always to make us managers uncomfortable by keeping on asking us, bugging us with questions. I won't do this, because the freshers are the ones who basically drive the organization. And second thing, if I may say, you should never lose us. We expect you not to lose a spark, because not to be settled ever. You should never be settled technically in the organization. When you feel that you are getting relaxed, you should try to move on to the next thing and keep upskilling yourself, as you rightly said. Keep upskilling yourself, as you said in your introduction, and to keep learning and never be complacent, and always to retain the energy. Right. Yeah, thanks a lot for your time. We will then give your feedback a little later. Thanks a lot and all the best to you.
thank you.
Okay, I will give some feedback. Neha, thanks a lot. Sorry to put you in a sort of a stressful situation. That was also a demonstration, and I know at the beginning, you asked me whether I should behave like a student or as a fresher. I told you be yourself, but still I broke it in the beginning. I said if you are selected for Bosch, we will engage you with GCT. So that was an exception. I just want to switch between two these things. But good. So FFE, mentees, right? This is one example, one of the examples how you can be put under stress. Neha's answers were not wrong, but I tried to put her under stress by trying to question her own competence. And yes, it was obvious she was a bit puzzled, she was confused because she knew her answers were right. But still, when a senior person, when experienced, when the interviewer says you are wrong repeatedly, how basically should I react? I know my answer is right. So only one short feedback I would have given to Neha, right, is that yeah, the puzzled look was on her face, but she recovered very well. She stuck to her answer, and some of the things I said I really bluffed. I was obviously wrong. Some of the questions I asked, they were just stupid questions. Sometimes you will also face that. Believe me, off the record, I am going to tell you. It's not because the interviewer wants to stress you out. Even the interviewer may be wrong. Because interviewers sometimes, right, they have finished their B's long back, and the basics and everything they would have forgotten. So they unintentionally ask you. So whatever happens, when you are put under a stress situation, how smoothly you come out of it, and that you cannot prepare for it just for this, through an interview preparation. You have to be like that all the time. That's exactly what we want to see you do. when you are put under an unprepared situation for which you cannot prepare. Obviously, your answers are right and I am wrong, but blindly and stupidly I am insisting I am right, you are wrong. How do you come out of it? That's really, and the good thing about Neha's 2-minute presentation of the say something about yourself, right? It was completely all round. And like what Harshita also spoke about a little earlier and everything, right? It gave a big picture. See, for me as an interviewer, first of all, I know what her technical competence, of course, would be good because she cleared the online examination before the interview. But she's able to, in those things, we know that she is serious about her career. She's not like they call it a dilettante or something, someone who just explores things and before moving quickly to the next one. No, she's serious about her career. She's pretty damn serious about what she wants to do technically and otherwise. She has an all-round personality. She has a life outside work, outside studies, and she also knows exactly why she went to an internship, what she wanted to gather from it and what she learned from it, and how she's applying all these things, both the projects that she did at GCT and also what she's doing. So this is basically, guys, you would have seen now from Harshita and Neha what they spoke about themselves. These are some examples of how you can build, and I will not say that they're experienced or they're able to, they just finished their BE 6 months, 7 months back or something, right? And some of the profiles that you guys gave also are amazing. Though you may all be students, the way you spoke, starting from Vivek and Sai and then Sanjay and Ashvi, I believe. So the profiles, you all actually gave a very good picture about yourself, and that's exactly what we want to know about you. As I said, you have the power to set the context at the beginning, and you have the power to correct any things that may have gone wrong during the interview at the end through the way you ask questions. That's it. Harshita, you wanted to add something to it. I think Vaishnavi has left, but Harshita, you want to add something?
No, Bhuvan. I think you have covered all of it.
Now you can boldly say Neha is not going to bite you tomorrow when she meets.
No, Bhuvan. Never.
Okay, good. Fair enough. So now I know we are already 5 minutes past 1. If you guys are all okay, we can have another 10-15 minutes maximum for any comments, feedbacks, questions, because Tanvi was also asking, right, if you have any questions, please, the floor is open. You can give your own feedbacks, questions. But whoever asks questions, my request is switch your video on. That's a good experience for you to attend a virtual interview. Shoot, questions, comments, anything. No questions? Deafening silence. It's a very loud silence, I would say, if you understood me. Come on, scholars. No question is stupid. There are no stupid questions. There may be stupid answers, but there are never ever any stupid questions. No taboos. This is a closed forum, and if you wish, I can also pause the recording at the moment so that whatever you ask is not recorded. If you want to ask some really embarrassing question also, it's okay. Please let me know. Ask. This is a good forum for you to ask.
Let's hear it from the students who have participated as the volunteers for today. What is your feedback?
Yeah.
How do you feel? Do you already feel that you have gained something out of this mock interview session? Sainath, Vivek.
Yep.
Good afternoon, sir. I have a doubt.
Videos on. And Sanjay, and you're dressed so beautifully for the interview. Come on.
No, right now I've changed my.
It's okay. Come on. It's okay.
Yes. Basically, my question is right now, like my branch of engineering is different and my field of interest is different. I'm in fintech and my branch is metallurgy. So, how difficult will it be to get a job in this field? And once I get a job, will it be easier? Because I feel that it might be difficult for me to get deep dive into this field without an MBA degree. So, I want to hear it from you.
I
on this.
give you the same routine feedback I give to all the freshers over the last so many years. It's all right to ask, to aspire to do something different from your BE. Perfectly right. You can perfectly okay. You can choose a different field, but a common sense approach to this is be very clear about what you want, because you took a conscious decision to join engineering and not finance by doing
Yeah.
BE and not BCom or BCS or whatever, right? So there must have been a reason, and you being in your third year now, it has been only 3 years to make this major change. Be very clear about why. There is no right or wrong thing to do, but be very clear why you want to do this, because if you don't, you'll only be moving from one area to another. You'll be shifting from one area to another like a headless chicken. That's the word I would use. If you want to move to a different field, do it. The feedback I give to all the freshers is, if you have the chance, try to stick to your engineering or whatever field you are doing, at least for the first few years, because the first few years in your job, in addition to the technical thing, you are learning something more invaluable. What is that? You are learning work ethic, good habits, the so called good habits, like brushing your teeth every morning when you wake up. These are the basic things you learn. It does not matter whether you do engineering or medicine, any damn field you take, anything you work on, the first 3 years is completely dedicated to learning the good habits in addition to the technical things. And what you learn in your first 2 or 3 years will stick to you with your entire life and career till you retire and beyond. And the right attitude, right learnings and everything, good work ethic, commitment, communication, punctuality, all these things you learn. So you should take a very conscious decision why you want to switch your field. If you are switching, what is in it for me? Why do I want? It should be like business. It should be like a business transaction, your career. You should not do anything that you cannot explain to yourself later. Some people may not agree with it, but you should try to see what is in it for me in every small thing you do. It includes volunteering. It includes, there's no harm in asking. When, for example, the Bosch Volunteers, right, Vaishnavi, Harshita, Purnima, Neha, everyone I offered, I told them the same. So it may look like social service, volunteering, but please ask yourself, why am I doing it? Even the volunteering, the 2 hours, 2.5 hours I'm spending, the extra hours I'm spending to prepare, why am I doing? What can I get in return? Every paisa that I'm spending, every second I'm spending, every effort I'm putting, what do I get in return? Please keep questioning, because your time, your mental energy, your physical energy, everything you're spending, it's invaluable. You must do it. Even the social service, Man Ki Shanti, right? You do all this thing, right? Even that needs to get you something back. I'm saying this. There's nothing called selfless service. That's the truth. It's a very philosophical statement, but I would never accept if someone says I'm doing it without any expectation. You must do it with some I am doing all these things with an expectation. That expectation could be satisfaction, self-satisfaction. It's okay. I also do it because the more and more I do such sessions, the more and more I also learn. Some small learning I have for my own job. Some interesting question comes, for the 2 hours I spend with you, if I can get one invaluable piece of advice or suggestion from any one of you, I'll be happy. So always account for every moment you are spending. Be accountable to yourself. With this, try to find why you are wanting to switch a job, why you want to do or work in a field which is in line with or not in line with your bachelor's. Was my answer clear? I tried to be as straightforward as possible. Was this answer good enough?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Accountability is the key word. Accountability to yourself. And most of you, again, I'll give the answer. FFE, I know, caters to also mainly to people. Correct me, Tanvi, Shruti, please correct me. The main target is also where most of you scholars, FFE scholars, may not have had the benefits that some other of your fellow students would have had in terms of family background, financial situation, or opportunities like some other students may get. Is that correct, Tanvi?
That's right, Bhuvan. And I think that makes these students really special. You know, even when you're going for your interviews, uh, your stories, your inspiring stories, and your stories of uh, coming to this stage where you are sitting right now, that itself is a great story. You know, to say. We in fact ask our scholars to also put on their resume that you've been the recipient of this scholarship. You know,
Yes.
so yes, that's definitely a
That will
point there.
trigger some questions also. Hey, what is this FFE? What is this? Then you can, because I'm not saying you have to create a sympathy for yourself. The thing is, there is always, that's called the differentiator. That's the word I would use. How are you different from the next candidate who has a similar profile like you? Everything being the same, why should I select you and not the person next to you? That's a differentiator. And one differentiator is, I started not from the ground level up, I started from the underground level. I did not have the same opportunities like the person next to me, which is why I needed this mentoring from FFE. And despite the odds, I have come up. That is a differentiator. You should not hesitate to flaunt it, right? You should not hesitate to flaunt. And uh, from people with your, how to say, I would say, lack of opportunities like the others have got or something, right? It becomes all the more important that you make a very sensible and informed decision towards the end of your bachelor's. Pursue your passion always, 24/7, from this moment till the end. You pursue your passion, there's nothing wrong about it, but be sensible, because some of your families may be expecting you to get into a job immediately, maybe very much dependent on the salaries that you will be getting. If you say, I want to become, you know, the headbanger, they call it, right? Guitarist, this the troops you want to join, do it, but not at the cost of giving up a promising job that will, on whose salary your family is dependent on. Don't try to blindly pursue your passion where after a few years you regret, if only I could have got a minimal financial background from where I could have a launch pad. As I always say, you are interested in music, jamming and all those things, do it in your free time after your work. I know I have had reportees who were like crazy guys and crazy ladies also, who are doing crazy things after their working hours. Sometimes they used to take leave and do all these things, but they were actually having a day job. So do that. Your first accountability is towards yourself and next towards your parents. As long as you're taking these two things into account, you're free to do and pursue any damn thing. I cannot be more blunt than this. I hope Tanvi, Shruti, all of you also agree with this. Yeah. It may not sound palatable to some of you. Hey, Bhuvan is asking us not to pursue your passion. I'm not asking you that. Pursue your passion, but be sensible, because the reality is much different. Believe me, after a few years you'll appreciate me for this advice. I took cognizance of Bhuvan's advice. I did not kill my passion off, but I decided to pursue it along with certain things that are more realistic. Life is about being realistic. Even the craziest guys and girls, when I say guys, it involves girls, so I don't want to repeatedly say guys, girls, ladies. The craziest people, right? They also had a method in their madness. That's where the word accountability comes. Be accountable to yourself and to your family. People who are accountable to themselves, they have faced only success. The paths may be crazy, may be different. They have been doing here like they may seem to be running like headless chicken everywhere, but they have a method in their madness, as I said, because they know at the end of the day why they are doing anything. It's not that today I see this is a trend, this is a hippie thing, I move. Tomorrow I see something. It could be your technical thing. So today data science is big, I do it. Tomorrow AI ML is good. Day after tomorrow something else. No, you can't follow the zeitgeist, right? The spirit of the day, you can follow it, but always have a rationale behind what you want to do. it will be very difficult for you at your age as freshers and everything, students, to think of that. But be happy for this advice. It's an unsolicited advice I'm giving you, but please take this. Anything else to add? Anyone, please? Anyone is free to add to this. Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions? Feel free. The floor is yours. Wow. Either you are searching for the next question or you are, how to say, chewing on my statements. Any questions? Why is it silent? I really become uncomfortable when there is heavy silence. Come on. Okay. Harshita, Neha, you want to add something?
Not much to add.
What do you think? You have been 6 months working in the organization. What do you think about this thing about passion? I'm very sure you like to do a million things which is not exactly your job, but how do you balance this passion with your reality?
Basically, for now, I didn't know that this is the work I'll be having it in the office. But for now, what I feel is more than work, I'll have to learn what is a corporate background. Like how to deal with others, how do we learn, all those things are very important. And the work itself has a lot of correlation with my studies. So it's little fun, as well as for now I am exploring myself, like how I fit into this situation. Maybe after one, as you said, after 1.5, 2 years, I may try to switch in some other department or whatever it feels as if accordingly.
Beautiful,
So
beautiful. Nice. Harshita, you're still there? Here is an interesting question to either Shruti or Tanvi, either of you. You have been for so long doing the things, whatever you are doing, these amazing things. How did, how were you able to align yourself? What would you give as an advice to all the scholars here about aligning whatever you wanted to do with what you do? I know, I'm very sure by now you are doing what you always wanted to do. Otherwise, you'd not be doing this, obvious. But in the early stages of your career, when there was reality, I also wanted to pursue your passion. How did you adjust? How did you balance this? Any tips for us all? For us all? You're still there?
Bhuvan, I think Tanvi had to step
No
out and
issues. So, Shruti.
she's not, yeah, she's not it there. So I just wanted to add one thing is, Bhuvan, definitely most of us would have a different passion when we started our career, and there's a lot of deviation as a woman. We will have a lot of deviations, but definitely, talking about FFE, it's just a different situation. I had to land here, though my passion is different. I am completely in a different lane. Marketing is my passion. Due to some unavoidable circumstances, I'm here, but definitely I started enjoying things when I got to know this is helping a lot of students. And during our verification calls or when we started interacting, somewhere personally I felt that, I'm adding a value to the students who really need us, by connecting with a lot of people. Like, we are just getting this opportunity to interact on a daily basis. So it's a nice opportunity. And as you just said that, apart from working, definitely we have to pursue our passion and we have to make a time. I think that's something as an individual which, I would like to say. If you have a passion, just make a time for yourself, and it's up to you whether you wanted to do that or you have to compromise in your life.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thanks a lot, Shruti. Yeah. So that sums up actually the dilemma that most of the freshers or students have: where to go, what to pursue, and everything. Yeah. Amazing. Thanks a lot. Good. Any last question before we wind up? I would try to put this and last week's recording at the earliest, yeah, on YouTube and share with you all the link. Any last questions? All right, then I think we can wind up. We are 20 minutes beyond the planned session. So I would say thank you, Shruti, for helping organize this. Thank you, our volunteers, everyone, Neha, Harshita, Purnima, and Vaishnavi. Purnima just messaged me parallelly. She's traveling and she was not able to join. But thanks a lot, everyone. Thanks our FFE scholars for your time, for actively and enthusiastically participating in this. Hope this was useful to you. And please let us know if you have any other questions. You know how to connect with us, and we are always there to help you. Right? Thank you very much, guys, and have a wonderful week, and all the best to you. Thank you.